thanks for coming to the Small City Big podcast.
I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited. We're coining these the ACTEB couch conversations.
Love it. Yeah, that usually surprisingly comfortable couch.
Right?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're thinking about taking it out on the town and, just having casual conversations surrounding something. We'll have fun with it. But no, seriously, thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. I'm excited to hear, about your business and about you and get to know you a little bit better. Yeah, it's fun. So why don't we just start by sort of getting you to tell us about yourself and how you kind of came to Salmon Arm.
Sure. So how did I come to Salmon Arm? I lived in Prince George for the past 13 years, and I guess that was a couple years ago. But yeah, my partner and I, we were just looking for something a little different. I'd been in Prince George for a while, and I had an amazing teaching job there as an elementary school music teacher, and I was also a librarian. Yeah, and that was a lot of fun. And I just was kind of just feeling like changing it up a bit. My parents had moved from the Lower Mainland to here about 6-7 years ago now, and they built a house, and they just loved it, and they just have been having such a good time. And every time I come and visit, it would kind of be like, oh, this is a cute little town, like Will and I always joke about, kind of like the Hallmark town. Like right now we come down during, I don't know, around like the holiday, like Christmas time, and there's, little snowflakes on the street light, and everything just looks like you could just go snap and like take a little postcard picture, And I just, every time I come, it would just really be like just such a good feeling. And I think also it helped where, I'd leave, there'd be snow in Prince George, and I'd come here and it'd be green and spring.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
Yeah. But so I think it was ultimately my parents, when they had moved here, it just kind of opened my eyes to like Salmon Arm as an option of a place to live.
Yeah.
And we were talking about maybe having kids, and I knew I wanted to be by family for that. So I would say that those are kind of like the first, couple reasons. But now that I'm here, I can't imagine being anywhere else, really. Yeah. It's such a sweet place to live.
Yeah, it's a very good place to live. And I love the whole like co-living with family. I also do that with my mom. We have a place with 2 houses, and it's such a lovely thing.
Yeah, it really is. I feel like we're in a time and place where a lot of people are so isolated, and we're very fortunate to have a good relationship with my parents. That's not the case for everybody. Yeah. But I just feel like it really is. And in this economy, buying a house is like pretty crazy. And surprisingly, like, building a house is a little bit more affordable, and we kind of get what we want. And yeah, like I said, like being by family is just absolutely like invaluable. Like it's just so perfect when you have a new kid. And so we ended up having a kid, so having grandma nearby and grandpa, it's just so great. Yeah.
So you can be a professional podcaster.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why I'm here, actually. It's my job interview. Yeah.
There we go. Well, you're hired. Okay, well, that's awesome. I love hearing about people's relocation, to the community, because, obviously I'm a big believer in Salmon Arm and I love it, but it's lovely when other people say, it was like the shining light for me when I was coming from my other communities. So anyway, okay, so you moved to Salmon Arm, and then so you own Holey Handpies.
I do, yeah.
And so I'd love to hear a little bit about the development of that. So you moved to town. How did you sort of start that business, and how did that come about?
Yeah, so we moved here in the summer, beginning of the summer, and I don't know if it was just the exhaustion from the end of the year crazies, like being a teacher and just ready for kind of like end of year and moving and everything. And I was kind of like, what, I might try to do something different, like do something new. And it's always easier to start something new when you move to a new place.
Yeah.
And can I get everything new done at once? Yeah. And my partner Will, he is I love him so much, and he's got a habit of collecting like antique kitchen equipment, or like just random kitchen equipment. Yeah. And like unique pieces, like really odd stuff. And anyways, he had this pie press that was almost 100 years old, and it weighs 1 million pounds, and we moved it from Prince George to here. And it was kind of a funny thing. So it all happened within like 2 weeks. I kind of had the idea in my head that, I was like going to do something new. Went on Facebook, actually, of all places, and I just put a question out. There's a Facebook group called Shuswap Everything Friendly Goes, and I really love that it's kind of a more positive, light on a community. And I just put a couple pictures of her pies and was like, hey, would anybody be interested in buying pies like this? And this town, as you know, is a pie town. There's, you know, Shuswap Pie Company, and Laura's Pies, and a lot of other great, amazing bakers.
Yeah.
And Will was like, yeah, I think people would like more pies. I was like, are you sure? There's lots of pies here. Anyways, we posted pictures and pies, and like overnight, it was like 500 comments, like, give me the pies. I want the pies. Where do I buy these? All this stuff. It was just unreal. And just, you know, that little bit of market research, I was like, okay. So yeah, we reached out to Terry Health. We like found a place to bake, and just like kind of overnight, really, it feels like we started a business.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was just kind of amazing how it just all came at once, and pretty much immediately then I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing now.
This is what's happening.
Yeah.
So when you started, that's amazing. Number one, that you have that response.
Yeah.
And I feel like, because obviously I know a little bit about your story, and that response did not stop. Like, you were sold out every time at the farmers markets. Like, you're expanded really fast. Like, it's been an incredible journey already. I mean, and you're just at the front end of it, babies. Yeah, the baby stages. But so when you started the business, did you start it at Zest?
Yeah,
You did. Okay.
yeah. One of the things that, as being a person with 4 dogs at home, anytime you do any sort of baking, anyways, I'm just a big about food safe, and I knew that if we were going to do anything like this, I'd want to do it in sort of a commercial kitchen setting.
Yeah.
Will, having a background in food and beverage industries and tons of, experience with commercial kitchens, like he had mentioned Zest, and he was just like, Becky, like, this is a really fantastic facility to have in the area. Yeah. So we went for a tour, and at the time, Tracy was managing it, and she gave us a tour, and we went, and immediately I was like, wow, what a cool thing to have in this community. As someone who's never started a food business, obviously Will has like tons of expertise, so he was really good about like helping us get started up. Tracy was phenomenal, just getting us set up there, and within, once again, it felt like overnight, all of a sudden we had an amazing Interior Health approved commercial kitchen space to use. And if you know anything about commercial kitchen equipment, it's not cheap. So, we think about, for example, our blast freezer like that we use. So we bake our pies, they're, piping hot. We get them down to a frozen temperature because we sell them frozen within an hour. So totally within food safe limits. And that machine is whatever, $40,000 new. Yeah. And if you think about being a startup business, well, as the Salmon Arm Economic Development Society, you see all these startup businesses. There's very, very, very few startup businesses who can afford that sort of upfront cost.
100%.
Yeah. So as talking about like just like financial barriers, like that is just absolutely incredible for food and beverage businesses in the community. And it's just been phenomenal. So we've actually, we used to rent on an hourly basis. So we'd go in, we'd lug everything in, including the £1 million like just solid steel pie press every single time we'd go to bake. Anyways, now we have a permanent space there. And once again, it's just like such a real blessing in this town. I think about it as just like a really great kind of stepping stone to help small businesses get in there, get started, grow just enough to know, is your business model viable? Can you make money? And then you have a chance to invest in if you're going to have another special, like another kitchen, right? Yeah. If you're going to go find another permanent space outside of that. But it's a really amazing kind of like beginning and mid step where a lot of communities don't have that. And you think about how many other businesses are able to survive, thrive, and get started because of that. So when you look at a small town like Salmon Arm, I just like I said, it's invaluable. Like it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. For people who don't know what Zest is, it's Zest Commercial Food Hub. So it's a facility that has 2 commercial kitchens, and then we have the rotating opportunity within those kitchens, so you can come and just do the hourly like you started. Exactly. And then there are those we have 7 anchor tenants with rooms, so that you can not lug that bike press around every day. And the hope of that is to help people get into their ideas into fruition, and then to actually take it out of Zest and actually potentially have something bigger. And they should do these. Just wild. That's wild. I love that. So I love that that was a big you had the market research. It was like, yes, pies. That we have the dogs. No, we don't want air in the pies. So now we go to Zest, and now we have this product and this match in the community. So I love that. Can you speak a little bit to like just the community in general at supporting your business and how you've felt, that's played a role in your success?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that I reflect on in Prince George when I lived there was a lot of opportunities really granted to me that wouldn't have been available where I'm from, the Lower Mainland. I just think about like the benefit of like a small town living, and Prince George is a little bit bigger than Salmon Arm.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of things that happened in my life that really was because of this smaller community. And I think when I came to Salmon Arm, it was almost amplified because it is even smaller than Prince George, but it's not small in the sense of like less opportunities or less things available. I feel like it's small in the sense of like more connection. And I think that's one thing that I really like. If, for example, making a post, having 500 people like, and then, oh my gosh, even like the next, I don't know, within that week, we were like walking, and I think I posted maybe a picture of myself and Will with our pies or something like that. Like say, hey, we got started. And we're walking on the street, just down the road here, and someone in a big truck is driving by, and they roll down their window, hey, like, you're the pie people, I love your pies, or something like that. And just so funny, right? Like the Salmon Arm. Yeah, it's so Salmon Arm. And like I was at another store, and this woman was like staring at me from across the store, and I kind of just like smiled at her, and like, hello, this is me, brand new to Salmon Arm. And she comes over, she's like, do you make pies? And anyway, it's just so funny, like these little things. But speaking of how community really supports, it's just been phenomenal. Like I think about that first couple weeks of selling pies, making pies, just like run off my feet, selling at though. I was like, how many pies are we making? Like just, it was unreal. And we've had so many people continue to support us now that we're, what are we, like almost 2 years, I guess? Yeah, 2 and a bit. And yeah, we still have our number one cheerleaders that come to the farmers market every week and, support us and having those community partnerships. Like, I love the fact that we're partnering with Ricochet, they open that their Mesa Lab Post. We use their beer in our steak and nail pies. Yeah. They're able to serve our pies hot. And like, you think about economic development in a town, like it's just, and also my marketing brain, before I was a teacher, I was actually a graphic designer and a marketer. Yeah. And one of the things that I love is like, you're at the farmers market and it's a cold day and people are like, oh, I wish you sold them hot because we sell all of our pies frozen. Yeah. To take it home and bake. And I'm like, hey, like right up this, kitty corner, literally right there. And people do. And, or same thing, when they're like, they come to us and they're like, hey, I had a pie with my beer the other day and it's so good. Just like those community partnerships are so invaluable when you think about just like promoting each other's businesses, lifting each other up, that sort of thing, which really is, it's just, you just can't beat that. Yeah. And it's really hard to do that in a bigger town, I think. There's a lot more noise as well, right? Like there's a lot more kind of stuff happening all the time. And I find that it's nice with the small community because you really get to know people. Yeah. And it's not just like, oh, this nameless, faceless business, this giant corporation that's doing all this stuff. It's like, nope, it's Becky and Will made pies, just as an example. There's so many amazing businesses in this town. Yeah. And it's amazing because I get to know the people, get to know the owners, get to know the manufacturers, the producers, whatever. And it's just like, I would say that that's one of the best things about living in a community like Salmon Arm.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so you've touched on what we've touched on in a lot of these podcasts already, and that is it's community over competition, like hands down. It comes up like really often for me in this job, this role of business support. But I'm hearing it again in this story where it's just like the community is really there to support our local businesses. Like it like we love fiercely. Like there's this whole mentality. It's like, you're here, you're doing this thing. Yes, we want you to stay. And so, and the competition thing, like there's so much camaraderie in the community. Your pies at the thing, you're using the beer, you used Shuswap cider for, your other ones. Like I think you do, right?
Yeah.
Do you? Yeah, you do.
Okay.
I was like, wait a minute. Just why?
Yeah, North Yard cider. We always say North Yard. Yeah, so North Yard cider, we use their semi-dry apple cider and our zenny pie. Yeah.
Yes. So it's that constant sort of like, grab from the community and it's reciprocated back.
Yeah.
So, and where can people find all like your product in the community, for instance, and then beyond the borders of Sumner?
Yeah. So it's kind of been an interesting journey, just talking about how we want to expand, where we want to go to. Yeah. So we're pretty much every Saturday at the Salmon Arm Farmers Market, which is great. I love that. That's my favorite. We can face to face. And then one of our earliest supporters was Grillers Meats, which is amazing butcher shop in town. And then, we got into Askew's Uptown here in Salmon Arm. And then, just slowly we've had a few other places kind of reach out. Some were really keen on like wanting to get our product. Some we kind of reached out because we wanted to have in a few surrounding communities as well. Yeah. So there's a few stores in like Kelowna and Kamloops. And if you go on our website, you can see a whole list and addresses and everything of where to get them. But and as in freezer section near you.
And a freezer section too. Okay, at the very beginning of this conversation, when I asked what brought you to Salmon Arm, part of that was, the want to have kids, be closer to your parents, and maybe be in a smaller community for that aspect of your life. Fast forward to today, you have Casper. So do you want to speak a little bit about having, a baby while running a business and being in a community maybe on a smaller, population size, being by your parents, that kind of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think, it's interesting. When I quit teaching and went into being an entrepreneur, a business owner, I had a little bit of a time of mourning because I was like, I gave up my maternity leave. I also love being a teacher, but one of the biggest things that is a benefit of being employed by someone else is having benefits and certain, luxuries of things like maternity leave. And I had tons of friends who were teachers who had kids, and they loved that time, that 12 months, 18 months, whatever, to be at home with the baby. And I knew that if I was going to be self-employed, that I wouldn't have that luxury in that same way. Yeah. One of the things that I love about being self-employed really is the ability to just like the flexibility. So Casper is what? He's like he's 4 months, 4.5 now. And and it's great. Like we kind of do some of Mom works for us as well. And so myself, Will, and my mom right now, the three of us. So we kind of triage with Casper care. So, Will and I will go into the kitchen and do some baking. My mom will look after Casper, or like my mom and I will go bake. Will look after Casper, or the other, And I think about really, and Grandpa's not in the picture. He's busy helping me build the house. So, which is once again a huge help. So I think about just really the flexibility of like where I wouldn't have that before. Like there's no real 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 kind of thing. Yeah. It's kind of work when you can, and sometimes some weeks are really busy. We're like, oh my gosh, we sold out, yay! And then we're like, oh, we have to make all these supplies now to keep up. Yeah. But really it's like super flexible, and I think that's one thing that I didn't really expect to enjoy as much.
Right.
Yeah. One of the things that, Will and I had discussed before we had kids is I'm a very independent person, and I'm very, I really value my identity outside. And I see, I don't want to say this in a negative way, but I see a lot of my friends who sometimes lose themselves to motherhood, and that happens very often, and not necessarily to their own, like it's not necessarily what they want to happen, but I do, because a lot of the times, a woman will stay at home and become the primary caregiver. Yeah. And sometimes they just lose their either ability to work or their desire to work, or maybe they have a partner who's like, no, you stay home or whatever. Yeah. And sometimes that works. But for me, I knew that wasn't going to work. And funny enough, actually, Will's dream is to be a stay-at-home dad.
Perfect.
So, it's been great because I've loved being actually back to work. I finally had a chance to kind of miss him a bit,
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we're hanging out at home all day, every day. It's like, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And my mom is an amazing help. And, if Will's working, he's also incredible with the baby.
Yeah.
And, but it's nice because, I get to go, I'll go for 6-7 hours, make some pies. And then when I come back, I'm like, oh, so happy to see you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I've actually really enjoyed it. Yeah, great. A lot more than I thought I was going to. And it's been great.
I love that. Yeah, it's interesting because like I went through that as a mother and an entrepreneur at the time, and it was, there's this little bit of mom guilt that like maybe you're not doing everything that you should be doing, but at the same time, it's like, no, you've got all of this community around you loving up this baby. There's nothing to feel guilty about. And I think it's quite inspiring, for women to hear of other entrepreneurs, who are having their kids and continuing to go into their, follow their dreams. So I love that.
And if you go like to the farmers market, there's like 4 or 5 market babies, and they're all, it's so cute. You see some whoever, lucky, if they're lucky enough to have 2 people, pushing a tent, one person will go and walk the baby around and the other person will be there, and then they swap. So you see all the market babies doing their lap. And that's kind of an added too, but and everyone loves a baby, so people come up and say hi and maybe bye. I don't know.
Bye is like luring for the people to buy food. I feel like in a small town too, there's like a little more of a sense of relief of like safety around raising a family too. I know we have a lot of relocation from bigger centers when they want to have kids. They're like, I want more space. Yeah, I want more green space for my kids. I want them to have their feet in the dirt. I want to go to the farmer's market and just, it doesn't take me 45 minutes and I can't find parking, like those aspects. And I mean, you live in a beautiful location. So.
Yeah. We're almost neighbors.
Yes, we are. We are. I'm partial to your spot. Okay, so I just wanted to ask a little bit around, like we talked a little bit about organizations playing a part in the development of your business and the success of your business, and Zest. So maybe we don't need to talk about that. We're going to cut that part out. Okay. I was like, wait a minute. That's not where it's not going where I wanted it to go. Let me just have a brief moment. Yeah. While I lag. So we talked about has the local lifestyle and community culture influenced your business? I feel like we kind of touched base on that a bit.
I think so.
Yeah.
Kind of small town vibes. And
yeah. I feel like you've done a really great job. Maybe I'll ask just about doing sort of some of the key factors to like transportation and like the agriculture. Like we didn't talk about like the local produce, nibble. So maybe I'll frame it as how do you see Salmon Arm's agricultural scene and infrastructure, like the highway being the highway. Mm-hmm. Maybe not infrastructure, location. Can't talk about location and agriculture playing a part in your business. And then I think we'll move into sort of the personal questions, like when you're not running your business, what are you doing today? And those kind of things. Okay, so that's good. All right, so talking a little bit more about the business aspect and being in Salmon Arm, can you speak? I know that you use a lot of products in your pie that are local. Obviously, Salmon Arm is huge for agriculture. We have 100 farms within the city limits, 600 within the region. Can you speak to just sort of having a business in food and beverage within this community and what that means for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think back to, in Prince George, for example, and there's so many amazing farmers that, I've connected with over the years, the decade and plus that I've lived there. And I think about the challenges of living in a northern community, right? Of things like growing season is a little bit shorter. Yeah. A lot of communities are really food unstable when you think about that sort of kind of aspect. But one of the differences moving here is that we really do have a much better growing season, but just such amazing agricultural areas. So technically, actually, the home that I live in is in the ALR, which is pretty amazing. Yeah. One of the things that I love when I bike to work, I'll bike to Zest, and I go along foothills, and there's like cows and horses, and like I don't know how you feel about that, but I love it. I'm like, wow, you're just really one of the coolest things, or like even that where Piccadilly Mall, like kitty corner, there's cows like hanging out there. It's just,
you can get your eggs.
yeah, like how many farm stands beyond past. Yeah. So beyond like a personal level, just have enjoying that like visual aspect. I think one of the coolest things I was reflecting on the other day is I was talking to some former coworkers who are teachers, and I was just thinking about it. I was like, oh, I guess I don't really have coworkers now. Like I was thinking about, well, I guess I like Will and I and my mom, but like, I mean, obviously they're more than coworkers too to me. But I was thinking about my friends at the farmers market, like how many amazing people that I've connected with. So not only the Salmon Arm farmers market, but other markets that we've done as well. And I just think it's just so incredible to have those. Once again, it comes back to community, those connections. Like how easy is it to just go, next door and be like, oh, hey, like, sometimes it's as simple as like, oh, what's for lunch? Like, hey, I'll trade you a pie for this. Yeah. But other than that, it's like, okay, hey, we have, these ingredients in our pies. We want to source as local as possible. Like, what does that look like? How can we support you and you support us? And I think that, like I said, once again, it comes back to the people. Like a tool, like for example, like Facebook, like, just kind of touching on how we started, I see on there all the time, independent, farmers, cattle raisers, eggs, milk, whatever. Yeah. And it's just, I think it's really cool to live in an area where, the agriculture specifically is so prevalent. Yeah. Both at a larger scale and specifically the small scale. Yeah. Because I think about how, I think about how much our spending dollars impact large businesses versus the small businesses. Yeah. And if you buy a half cow from a huge corporation that sent it over to China to get raised and then back to Canada to get butchered, you go to Costco or whatever, like those dollars aren't staying in your community. And if you think about, Joe down the street who's raising cow and you buy half a cow from them, like that's going directly into your community and that is supporting your neighbors. Like there's so many things that are just so much more beneficial from local. And especially for looking at kind of the climate that we're in right now with just the craziness of like economics that are going on and like things like tariffs and I'm gonna look back at this at a later date and be like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Tariff.
But I think that's like a perfect example, right, of how and why it's so beneficial to support your neighbors.
100.
Really, yeah.
They say that for every dollar that you spend locally, 63 cents is recirculated within the community. Yeah. That's that person who's gonna go and spend it on groceries or buy your pies and circulate it. It's gonna go into sporting events or getting into the pool or whatever it is. Yeah. So I always think of that number and think, wow, that's such a. And Salmon Arm is so big on shopping local. Mm-hmm. Like we're again, we love Fiercely on local. Yeah, that is a huge thing. And and so I'm always really proud of that. When I see that number, I'm like, yeah, we're like really, we're doing that. Yeah. The other thing that just came to mind for me when you were talking about like finding those local products is that now, like, and Will's been a huge part of this, it has Shuswap Food and Farm Directory. How cool is that? Yes. So having this platform where, you can put your pies on there and people can find you, but, Joe, who does blueberries, can put his farm on there and say, hey, these are the products I have. And with a quick search, you can get in there and say, these are. So, I mean, for your business, it's a great asset on both sides, right? But selling side promotions, but then also on sourcing your local product. So
I think about that. When we first moved here and we were looking just meat, for example. Yeah. I remember using Facebook as a tool because not everyone updates their website or has a website. I don't always say that like farmers and web design go hand in it, so I think usually they're doing the work, advertising it. It's two full-time jobs. But yeah, just think about how amazing the Shuswap Food Directory is going to be because, you're having a big event or even just like an average consumer, like a family, like, okay, I really want to buy more local, like Canada's looking for XYZ, whatever, just type it in and there you go. Now you're connected. And I'm lucky because I chat all the time and we connect with people, for example, my coworkers, all of my coworkers. I love like the farmers market, for example. But, if you're not part of that community, you might not have that
that inside knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a great way to connect people directly.
Yeah.
And once, you're talking about just spending direct, and I think that's, just really financially just beneficial for both people. Yeah.
Huge. Yeah. Ton. Okay, so Becky, what do you do in Salmon Arm when you are not doing pies, when you're not doing business? What does Salmon Arm provide for you?
Yeah. I would say now being a mom, and we go for, mom stroller walks every day. Cassie loves being outside as much as I do, so we're always outside walking around. I love going to the wharf. I've been, I'm very creative outside of pies. I love doing arts and all sorts of arts. I've been kind of getting into embroidery, so I've been bringing my embroidery to the Fort Shore Trail and just sitting on the bench and embroidering. Casper will have a nap.
I know.
That's so sweet. Yeah. I'm a huge nerd, so I'd say probably one of my third spaces. Are you familiar with that term? Yeah, you're home.
Yeah, you're a homespacing. Yeah.
So I think one of my third spaces is a Sanctuary Games. I just love it there. I mean,
so fun.
The cherry milkshakes bring me in, but the board games keep me there. So Will and I are huge board gamers, and we play a lot of other nerdy games. So yeah, being there all the time, I just love popping in there. My bank account doesn't love it, but you gotta do. It's just coming back into the stride. 62 cents, yeah. So it's all coming back. And I'll eat that, right? Yeah. And so I would say, man, Salmon is just so great. I just love the laid back vibe. I feel it really, is very it connects with me that way. We've been very fortunate to make a lot of amazing friends since we've been here.
Yeah.
And that's just really cool. I love that. I've always been pretty extroverted, but just the people that we've met here have been really just incredible. And it's I feel like it's rare to make that many connections with really great people within the year and a bit.
It can be hard. A lot of people talk about that, especially in a small community, because it can be quite close knit.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's a huge group of people who are so welcoming and so extroverted. Yeah. Even if they're an introvert, they're within this group of these extroverts, and so you just get welcomed into the community. Yeah. And I mean, Sanctuary Games, I know, it has its own community and
amazing and community. Yeah. And I joined a book club without an idea. Yeah. And that was fun. So a lot of people there it was a brand new book club. So once again, it can be kind of tight knit, cutting into a book club, can be tough. But, and all the amazing, the ladies in that book club, it was just so nice. Last weekend, they're all coming down. We had a new butter chicken pie, and half of them are down there, buying pies for their families. So it's just so nice. Just support, it just means so much.
Yeah. But you've made me feel really good. Yeah. I'm this is wonderful. Okay, Becky, we have what we're doing, or what we're calling a rapid fire portion of this podcast.
Okay.
So I have just a few little questions that I'll ask you. They're, kind of short, simple answers. So Salmon Arm has a tagline. It's small city, big ideas. Mm-hmm. So if you were to rebrand small city, big
pies.
Obviously.
Follow skies in the Shuswap.
Yeah.
My big. Yeah, are.
And they're so yummy. Okay, the other thing is Salmon Arm has so we've got some of the shortest commute times in the province.
Yeah.
And so we've been asking people what their shortest commute is in Salmon Arm.
Oh. I would say probably from my bedroom to the fridge in the morning for breakfast.
Yeah. Perfect. For a pie. Yeah. Would you like to do a shout out to any local business heroes or businesses in the community?
Oh, that's a tough one. Yeah, there's so many amazing. You know what? Just because I was talking about them, I'll give a shout out to Sanctuary. So thanks Sanctuary for being such a phenomenal group of people, really helpful, and taking all my money all the time.
Yeah, perfect. We love that. Okay, this is probably the hardest question I'll ask you all day, to be honest.
Okay.
What is your favorite Holey hen pies?
Oh, man. People ask this all the time, and depends on the season.
Yep.
Depends on the temperature. Yeah, depends on, which way the wind is blowing. But I would say probably the chicken chive cider. That one.
Oh, yes. Yeah. We actually had that the other night.
Yeah. Yeah. But also a new one. The butter paneer is I might be my new favorite.
Really?
Specifically the paneer, just hunks of cheese in it. Oh, just so I would say probably tied.
Yeah. Okay, well, I had the chicken chive pie just recently, that was on Saturday or something, and I have the paneer in the freezer. So I may report back. Okay, perfect. Okay, what is your favorite time of year in Salmon Arm?
Oh, anytime I'm here. I was thinking about that, and it's hard. Like, I love the spring when everything's opening up and you see, oh my gosh, just like all the forsythias and all the lilacs, but just like fall, I don't do well in everything but summer. I don't do well in the heat.
Yeah, I kind of hear you on that.
Yeah.
I mean, Salmon Arm is so beautiful in the summer, like the lake and everything, some green, but yeah, I'm a winter girl, so my fall is probably my ideal. I think so. Winter is also
The fall, the dogs get some muddy when they go out. Yeah, it's like maybe like the cusp of like end of summer, fall, but before it gets too wet.
yeah. Okay, fair,
Perfect.
I like it. Yeah, we're gonna call this a new season.
Yeah.
Is there anything, like, just to finish up, I'd just love to ask if there's anything, if somebody was thinking of moving to Salmon Arm, if they're thinking of starting a business in Salmon Arm, is there any sort of advice that you would lend to somebody from your experiences?
Yeah, do it. That's it. Just do it. We're not showing already, but yeah. Honestly, yeah. Like, it's hard. It's hard to know what your life's going to be like in the community before you move there, right? You can have ideals, you can have visions where you're like, oh, I think it might be like this, but unless you do it, you're never gonna know. And I think that's one thing that I did was just like, just kind of not really a flip of a hat, but we're just gonna move, and we did it, and it's been the best choice. Like, it's been a phenomenal move for us, great for our business. The people here have been just incredible. And I just, now looking back to 2 years ago when we were making this decision, I was like, I can't think of where else, what else we would do. So yeah, it's really been the best fit. So that would be my advice, is just do it.
Just do it. Yeah, I love it. It's simple and easy. Don't overthink it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on here and just like sharing your experience and sharing your business. We love your business. Obviously, it's a fantastic asset to the community. But yeah, you've just brought a lot of insight to, I think, other people listening. And yeah, so thank you very much.
Good. I can't wait to watch.